Well, Christmas comes a little early. So I've just entered Dam Beaver Trapping Supplies, my favorite store. We've got Callan and Ian here. They send traps all over Canada and I believe the US. It's a very well organized store with absolutely anything and everything that you would need when it comes to trapping. So I was telling you about all the different sizes of clown bear traps. This little guy is a 120. And then this one is a 160. This one's a 220, 280, and then the big boy's a 330. So there's many different brands. The ones that we're looking at there are Belial. These are LPDO. And these ones are Bridgers. These are Duke. And there's moose calls, trapping baskets, different anchors, chains, swivels, raccoon traps, wolf stretcher, fisher, fox, all different kinds of stretchers. Huge amount of different lures. .330 stands. And there's fur mitts and hats. Leathers. Nice variety of knives, skinning knives, stretching knives, or skinning knives and fleshing knives, draw knives.
Well, how are they going to sell it, or what, drop a bag?
They have different varieties of snares, everything from wolf snares, coyote, fox, and different carabiners. The safeties for 330s and the rams. Coyote rams, wolf rams. Then wide variety of leg hold traps. The new leg hold traps for coyotes and stuff have to have this space in between. That allows circulation so that the animal doesn't freeze its foot, and that prevents the chew-offs. Some of them have a rubber jaw for the same purpose. Some of the traps have rubber jaws to protect their legs and stuff, so that same thing, it protects circulation and that way the animals don't freeze. The traps have the swivels right in the center so that they can never get it and twist their leg or anything like that. So it just holds them, doesn't hurt them until you get there to either release them or dispatch them. These are the traps that are used for stuff like muskrat and drowning sets. Same kind that I used in muskrat trapping. Hi everybody. I was telling you earlier that if I had had my traps ready, I probably would have caught like a third more muskrats and stuff. So I'm not trapping anything very heavy yet. Just waiting for stuff to prime up a little bit more. With fur values so low, it's kind of pointless to take them before they're ready and prime. So here we've got a 120. It's a Belial. It's traps, I think, that were just before the ones that are now legal for marten and that kind of stuff. So I'll squeeze it together and I'll show you what it's doing. Okay, safeties are still on, but if it went off, it would still hurt like hell. So if you can see the trigger here, we have some movement before it starts to move the dog that lets it go. And that's on either one of the two settings. One's a little worse than the other. You can see there's how you get about a ½ inch of movement. So what I do first is I file it a little deeper. Each of these little cogs, I file them deeper, and that takes the play out of the trigger. Okay, I'll reset it and see whether that took the play out. There, absolutely zero play in there. Okay, let's see what it did on the other one. Oh, still just a hair left on this one, but I think I'll leave it at that. Okay, so now to move the trigger, or to set the trap off, we have to move the trigger quite a bit before it's going to set the trap off. See, I've moved it probably 2.5 inches already, and it takes a bit of a push. I don't know whether you can see, but the space in between the dog and the trap, we've probably got 1/8 of an inch or better of space. That's how much it's had to lift this trap, or this dog, ready to set the trap off. So what we're going to do, I'll loosen it. Hope you can see here, but you can see we've got a complete round. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take a flat file and we're going to put some angle on it. So all we're doing is making the release of the dog a little bit farther down. So the trigger still stays solid, but as soon as it's moved a little wee bit, then that can go up and the trap snaps, getting a bit of a hair trigger on it. So these Belial traps don't take a lot because the dog is just made out of a real heavy tin.
those other old traps that I was showing you in when I was catching the rats, and I said they were quite a bit weaker. I think from what I can figure out, they're an old LDL. And it takes a lot more filing on them because there's a lot more meat to this dog. It's a lot thicker. Okay, so get it so you can see. So now let's see, I've got to move the trigger. Well, we've still moved it an inch, probably an inch and a half. There is still probably over 1/8 of an inch showing. That means that I can take it down quite a bit yet. And there, we're just at the point that it's gonna, there we go. So now you can see that it is no longer a perfect half circle. It's kind of perfect half circle up to about there, and then it goes on an angle. So it is just this amount of the trap that's holding on to the bar, this bar here. So as soon as it lifts a little bit, it goes on to this angle, which starts the trap to set off. Let's see if we have success this time. Okay, but it's set. This time it felt a little touchy. Okay, so trigger is still solid. Boy, I just had to touch that trigger and it went off. That's a hair trigger. Okay, so I've got it on the second setting. See how much we have to move it on there. 1/2 an inch, 3/4, an inch, inch and a half. Yeah, 2 inches. We'll just adjust it. So like I said, I'm fairly new back into trapping, and a lot of this is kind of a learn as I go. And so first year I was back trapping. I'm going to catch muskrats, and I'm all gung-ho, and I'm going to do everything that you're supposed to do. And well, one of the things that you got to do from everything I hear is you've got to wax the traps. So I boil all the traps and I put in the trap wax, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And you're not supposed to do it to conibears. Boy, was I frustrated. They would set off. It was a nightmare. Freezing my fingers out in the slough in a canoe. And these tough traps, I didn't have a trap setter. Oy, oy, oy. I was ready to throw them all in the lake. Okay, let's give it another whirl. 1/2 an inch, 3/4, an inch and a half. Still too much for me. I want that muskrat to barely breathe on it and set off. Boy, I've seen this lots. Okay, take 3. There we go. That one took about ½ an inch to set it off. Anyway, that's how I adjust them, or how I've figured out. If there is an experienced old trapper in there that tells me I'm doing it wrong, like I said, I like constructive criticism, learning. I want everybody to learn along with me. So, till next time, take care.